and 20. And we're back live with Hair Wings and the Passing Show. I'm walking back to the Dupont Circle area, Colorama anyway, along Connecticut Avenue at Van Nest. University of Washington, D.C. is here. Let me get my hat back on, my hood up. Done. It's kind of chilly this morning in Washington, D.C., but it's clear. See some jet contrails up there. It's always nice to see who, what, when, and where. The raw documentation of police places around here. This one's 4201 Connecticut Avenue, the whole thing, maybe? 4,997 square feet of retail space. So it goes. Oh, I'm not supposed to be walking, but that's okay. I made it. Who we got? Mark's joined. From the cost has joined. Okay. Who are you? Where are you? How are you? These are the things I like to ask. And I'm a me, Richard. Not making more of these either. Pennies. Stooped over and picked one up. Ah, nice to see things. Careful here. Lots of acorns out from the oak trees. Armin Devodian, DMD, PC, General Dentistry. It's the Claire to schedule the models for the condominiums from the 400s. Interesting building. A big cat. No, that's a dog. Really big cat. But not a cat. Okay, so I'm not really making a lot of quality content here. Looking over at that building, which I think might be part of the. I don't know. I don't know what that building is anymore. It's the Burke Edmund Burke School. Welcome back to class of 2026. Imagine that. I was class of 86 at my college. It's all 40 years ago. Still in the game. Still in the game. Park across the way. I don't know how far this walk will take me, but it's fun. Interval exercise. I wouldn't be doing it except I was talking to my friend Rick, who was a former lawyer and HHS employee years ago. He's a contractor. He got wrapped up and he retired. And he's experiencing some cognitive decline, it's said. But I don't know. He seems pretty sharp to me. Thing is, I've got a lot of brain cells to lose, so if I'm in cognitive decline, I've probably got a ways to go. My mother is in this mode, and she's 86, so looking at the previews 23 years down the road, and a little bit jarring to see how things have declined, but most of the time she's in a fairly decent mood. Well cared for in a senior living facility now after breaking her pelvis on the stairs of her house that she'd been in for 47 years and change. 3 months to the day after Dad died. I talk about that a lot because it's on my mind, and that's the important thing, right? We want to be good ancestors. And I believe my parents were very good ancestors in a lot of ways. They left behind a volume of work that's still in use today and informing historians of the future of the work they did in the past, about the past, in York County and Williamsburg, Virginia. In particular, my mother was the registrar at the Department of Collections and Conservation for 32 years, probably the longest tenure anyone in the history of the foundation has held that position. Moved them from card catalogs through mainframe to mini computers to finally a museum system still in use today, findable at emuseum.history.org and give you access to tens, well, many thousands, I think over 10,000, 13,000, something like that. Different objects, their provenance, all the information about them that you could want practically, I hope. And it's just really good to feel that that still exists as a monument to her tenure at the foundation. What else do I want to say about that? I forget what I want to say about that. It doesn't matter. My father, on the other hand, has left one of book-length works as well as articles about various aspects of Virginia history. His contributions are stewarded, along with some of my mother's for that matter, at the Harold B. Gill Foundation, LLC. That's to be found at Harold B. Gill or HBG Foundation, LLC.org, because I had a thought to make it into a nonprofit. It's not yet. I should be very clear about that. But it is supported through this Substack. If you're a paying subscriber, you're part of the board of directors. If you're a founding member, you can be a chair of the board of directors. I don't know that I've actually written that in the verbiage for my site. I probably should. I've got to do taxes too on the LLC in the next month or so. I haven't cracked that nut yet, but I'm sure that I have a profit loss statement, and I'm subscribers. Well, not very few. I have 18. That's a lot by Substack standards, I think. And I'm really grateful for all of you who are free subscribers as well. If you're tagging along, so a few people are tagging along. My internet was a little unstable there, it looked like, for a second. But we have, again, Alexi Zaitsev is here and Kelly James from the Cost and Mark have tuned in to see the passing show along Connecticut Avenue in a police vehicle over here in front of the apartment complex. Never know. But it's 3801 Connecticut Avenue Apartments. They have move-in specials here. I don't know if I would want an apartment in there or not. Probably not. But they're probably pretty expensive too, considering this is DC. Cedric Gardens luxury apartments across the way. Interesting architecture. The D70 bus. Chevy Chase Circle. U.S. Border Patrol is advertising for careers. Trying to make sure my feet are picked up. I do not need to have any falls along the way. You can see they ground down some of the areas where there were lips on these sidewalks. It's important. Keep a nice smooth sidewalk. It's a trail around the back of this apartment complex. Quite a ravine. Yeah, I love ravines. Spent a lot of my childhood in ravines like that in Williamsburg, Virginia. That's the Western Ridge Trail, 1.5. Pierce Mill, 0.6. Pretty nice walk through the woods. I'm just going to head for home now. What else do we want to talk about while we're out and about? Nobody's telling me anything. Dear Girl has joined. Good to have you. Lost Vibes 100 has joined. One of my board of directors. Really grateful for all y'all. And Yeah, the thing about this is that I'm taking down a little primary documentation for stories of the future. I might be talking about just about anything, but what's falling into the lens of the camera is being recorded and sent out into servers somewhere to be there, and then it gets pushed out into all kinds of other areas and is available, making a mark. It's kind of like a video log, you might call it, but I call it primary documentation for historians of the future, making that mark so that they will know who, what, when, and where in Washington, D.C. Raw journalism, I also call it. And it's inspired by a number of things. There's the movie Smoke. Harvey Keitel is a tobacco shop owner in Brooklyn. Blue in the face, it's related. And in that, he was taking a photograph every day from his vantage point and kept them in a book. And it was the same view every day, same frame. And you'd see people coming and going, bits of history preserved. He was showing it to William Hurt, who was kind of like perplexed, perhaps, by Harvey's practice. And then he came across a picture of his deceased wife passing by and has an emotional meltdown. I believe that's in Smoke. Blue in the Face is kind of related. Like I said, very good movies. Highly recommended. That's one reason I do this. Another reason is I see Patty Smith go live and just, wing it with her founding members, telling us what's on her mind, what is important on that date. She was telling us about Michael Stipe's 66th birthday and the 66th anniversary of the death of Albert Camus, tragically, and how Michael became a friend of hers by calling her after the death of her husband on a Valentine's Day and offered to be her Valentine. And they've been friends ever since. It's amazing what a phone call can do. That's a little bit of what I was talking to my buddy Rick about. Really enjoyed having that conversation. Rick was at Hyde Park for the Rolling Stones show in 1969 that ended up being basically the funeral of Brian Jones for memorial. And let's see, Cleveland Park Station. I'm not far enough. Anyway, this Art Deco place is for leased. I don't know what was there before, but I always find that interesting. We got so many places for lease. Vacant property. Hope they don't tear it down. American flag going up. And the metro station is here. I'm not going to take the metro there. I'm just going to keep walking because I can. I'm capable. And what else do I want to talk about? Anybody have any questions? There's political diversity on Clubhouse Substack. Good morning. Intrepid editor press to Philip Chalmers is on. I'm really grateful for your presence, Philip, and I hope you're doing well. I think about you often, particularly after our last talk, in which we visited some of the challenges we've had. And I know that that cannot be easy. And I just feel, it's weird. China Daily is up. We're paying a lot more attention to China. We've got JF Books now. Oh, and look at this. Something free. What is it? We've survived 2025, issues to fix in 2026. The Washington Informer, celebrating 61 years, your credible and trusted source for Black news and information. Well, that should be interesting. I don't have enough diversity, I don't feel, on my show yet, and I need to get more. I do amplify female voices often, and, voices of all kinds of different stripe, but I want to get the diversity up. And we are all one species, and we are not nearly as diverse genetically as we like to think. Just consider the fact that there was population crashes at different points in history. The explosion of Toba, Sumatra, about 70,000 odd years ago, ended up reducing the human population to something around 6,000 breeding pairs or something like that. We're not really too sure, but our genome can tell us that. And we just found that out, you know? Just found that out. Okay, who else is talking here? Where are Burger Kings? I don't know. That Art Deco building looks like the kind of place, at least for a venue. Yeah, it did look like it could be a venue. I don't have any money to do that, but that'd be nice. Political diversity. Substack. Okay, nothing else being said. This is the post office of Cleveland Park Station. I received a lot of posts there because I was collecting stamps for my father's collection. And I eventually moved it all to him. And yeah, I love that. When they'd come to me here, I'd come here and sign for them. And yeah, it was great because we built up quite a bit and we moved a certain amount of revenue from place to place. Every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we're co-creating. And I definitely helped other people. And I put them all to auction. And I recouped only a fragment of what I'd spent. But that's what it was, that's how it went. I could have opened my own eBay store and tried to sell them individually, not in groups. Too much of a headache for me. It's got these boxes and boxed them up, 16 by 16 by 16 boxes. Actually, I think that was it. I mailed them off to Connecticut. Keller Stamp Office. Oldest ones in the business, and they did the job. And they published a Politic biography of my father, printed it up. It's there. Something that remains of him. Whether they were associated with the groupings that went out, I doubt. So the people who have those stamps now don't know where they came from for sure. They came out of our collection. But yeah, I went crazy with that for a while. Every cent spent moved the needle a little bit, made me poor, as I am now. And I burned through what I got back from that auction. Pretty much, I sent $8,800 of it, which was about the value of my father's part, to my sister in Williamsburg, which I guess she deposited in my mom's account for my mom's care. I understand that's pretty much how it's working. My mom's Social Security comes in there too to subsidize her care. Well, I'm sure it doesn't do the full job. I think it's like $6,000, $8,000 a month for her to be in a senior living facility. And God bless her. She's well cared for. I don't have to worry about her if she has any problems that are looked after. And she doesn't have many. She feels great, she tells me. She's on all the outings. Tells me she doesn't, because she doesn't remember having done so. But it is what it is. Bless her heart, as they say. I was Cleveland Park, so I've done that walk times. Crossing Macomb, about to cross a bridge. I think on the other side of that, I'll probably find my dentist's office somewhere out there by the parkway. There's another little stretch of commerce between Woodley Park Metro and the Taft Bridge. We'll cross the Taft Bridge. That'll be fun. Looking at the time. Looking at the time. I see the time. Oh, there it is. 10:39. Very boring. Thank you, Mark. Guess what, Mark? You hate this app. Yeah, well, here we go, Mark. Let's see. We'll just block you. Bye, Mark. That's the way. Mark has been consigned to bits and bytes undetectable by me for his rude commentary. That will happen with anybody who's rude about passing show. You don't have to watch. You don't have to tune in. You can just. I've done that for a few people. It's a service I provide. The way I look at it. You don't want to see me? You don't have to see me. And if anybody else feels the same, off you go. Well, I kind of feel the same way. Connect to Stars is joined. Good to have you. My mother always said only boring people are bored, and that's very true. Thank you, Philip. I think it's fascinating personally because you're getting a little bit of information about the world as it really is here in Washington, D.C. at the moment. Who, what, when, and where. We're not too far from the White House. And I don't think you'll find any protests going on down there, which is really kind of a shame. It's kind of like, what happened to the peace movement? What happened to the, rule of law? What happened to all these things? I mean, I believe that our current administration believes they are exercising the rule of law. But that's not exactly right? Where's the innocent until proven guilty bit? Definitely is a suspect. The president of Venezuela is of what we have classified as illegal activities, narco-terrorism. But is really that what it's about? Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's about the oil. Just like, well, last night Lynn and I were watching War Incorporated again to sort of refresh our memories of that piece. It only earned in box office about $500,000, cost over $10 million to make. Joan Cusack, Marissa Tomei, Hilary Duff, I forget who all else in it. Oh, Ben Kingsley's in it. And Dan Aykroyd has a small part, doing a credible impersonation of Dick Cheney. The idea of War Incorporated is that in the near future, 2008, near future, war has been outsourced to a company called Tamerlane. So you see the tanks cruising around with Golden Casino advertisements on them. And it's worth watching. War Incorporated. You can find it on Amazon Prime. That's what Lynn and I were screening it on last night. Some people found it to be smug, over the top. I don't know, man. Yes, I personally love this app, Substack Live. And this could be very boring, but could be very interesting if you had any ability to have curiosity about what you're seeing. There's a National Zoo. Every dollar makes a difference. So says the Washington Zoo. They need support, I would guess. I haven't been in the zoo in a while, but maybe I'll do it one day in the near future. I have a little freedom left before I have to go back into wage slavery, if that's what happens. We don't know. Got a couple of different irons in the fire. We'll see what happens. We're at Cathedral Park, and it's 10:40 something, I think, 10:50, 10:43 Eastern Time. What else do I want to say? Oh, somebody said something extensive. We should do a show, or you should do a walk around with other people doing a walk around wherever they may be. Our environments are so different. And I get a charge out of seeing the city you live in with it such a juxtapose of the environment I live in. Call it everyone everywhere all at once. Eh, I like that. I'm going to give that a heart. If you all like that, give it a heart. If you're listening to Philip Chalmers, by the way, his Tall Tales from a Short Childhood is worth the price of admission, as is Schlepp, his first novel, I believe. He's also done a screenplay, Kill David Spade, is that what it's called? I think there's a show. And then there's something about his diagnosis as bipolar that I don't know that is an accurate diagnosis. I know mine wasn't, but it happened when I was 20. And when I was 22, I got into recovery for a summer, found that wanting, and very casually slipped away after about 6 months, and came back about 12 years later with intentions of sticking around. One thing led to another, and I ended up living in Denmark for a couple of years. Relapsed over there on December 7th, 2001. Almost didn't make it back, but did. And it's been sort of like mostly on the beam. September 15th, 2015 is the sobriety date now. And it's the here and now that matters. Being here now. Not drinking, not drugging, just taking in the passing show, including the who, what, when, and where of it all. These folks in the window on their computer, you can just about guarantee that folks are pretty IT savvy anymore. And more so than we are, more so than I am. And one thing leads to another. I mentioned I need to do more work. Been thinking about getting grants for the Harold B. Gill Foundation. Virginia Museum of History and Culture is a possible source. NEH is a possible source. We're going to have to get our proposals together this year. And you'll get that as a first line. Second line will be to continue with the work I'm doing and hope that more people will pick up what I'm laying down and realize that Substack is an economic engine for culture. This is a type of culture. Have you said more? No, no more comments. Okay, good. It's all good. No, there's another comment. We'll catch up again. See anybody? Gotta go. See you later. Lee Penman has joined, though, and he'll take up the slack for the intrepid editor press, I'm sure. Lee, how you doing? Talk to me, buddy. Just type in whatever is happening. If you can, do it. If you can't, that's fine. No pressure. Lee and I have had some good conversations lately. Won't go into what they were about. They were private, but suffice it to say that he's a good friend. And I think making good friends on this medium is really important. You can catch Lee and me together from, I guess it was just before Christmas or just around then. Yeah, sometime around then. That we got on together. I think it was a weekend. Not positive. Wow, that was interesting, right? Bodybuilding. All kinds of information that I would not know otherwise, just from having a conversation. And yeah, I kind of think it's funny that somebody logged in to talk about how boring this is. I'm not bored. I'm walking. I'm breathing. I'm making sure my left foot goes in front of my right foot, and I'm trying not to fall because I fell not too long ago, and that was unpleasant. It was also unpleasant that some people who apparently were in a position to help did not. They walked by and just pretended that they didn't see it, I guess. Probably thought I had a risk. I don't know. People are weird, self-protective, self-centered, conscious of each other, not so much. So what's up, Lee? Oh, here we go. Just raced back from the gym. Late? Oh, never late. Another one coming up. Okay, yeah, that's right. With Colette, right? Lee has a partner, Colette, they have never met, but they have a practice in the medical vein. And we'll talk about that. And we'll find out more about it. Apparently, I will not get a word in edgewise. It is said, but I don't mind. I like being a good listener. There's no more real precious gift we can give each other but our attention, right? Just a little attention, just a little acknowledgement that, yes, I know you exist and your existence matters. One of the people, hopefully this week. Okay, good. Well, I'll try to keep myself open. And I'm real excited about that. I hope we can get a good, spread of folks tuning in and getting inspired. That's what really does it for me. What lights you up inside? And I caught that from Holly Lorian Adams out in KSKQ. Friday, I was on her radio show for a wee bit. We talked a little about our shared history. And I had been on her show as a guest 21, 22, a couple times maybe. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. I think it was November 21. We talked about the gift of giving. I was then being screened for possible donation of 2/3 of my liver to a cousin, my mother's twin brother's son, who had responded to his own father's death by descending into really abject state of addiction. And that resulted in his liver dying. And he got another one, but I was not able to donate mine as a living donor, even though I probably would have been a pretty good match. I was trying to do it mainly because somebody had to, right? And I was in the age range. My sister wasn't. My cousin wasn't. His sister. I'm sure his sister would have put herself under the knife if she could have, but she couldn't. And he got another one, though. He survived. He was at my father's funeral, gave me a hug. But other than that, we've had no contact since I was screened out. It's a very odd thing families are. I've been shunned by most of mine. For what reason, I'm not entirely sure. I have some contact with my sister, but only really if I reach out. Mostly. She did send me a Christmas card. That was nice. I didn't send her one, but I think I sent them Christmas greetings or something via text. Kind of lazy that way. It's all good. I just try to accept people exactly as they are and not have expectations. And if I do have expectations, I know whose fault that is. Fine. It's an inside job, folks. Okay. What else are we talking about? You were up to be a kidney donor once. I guess you were screened out. Is that right? I can imagine. Okay. This week. Okay, got it. Well, I open it to everybody, by the way, not just Lee. Lee knows me. We've talked online and also on the phone. The other night, stayed on the phone until close to midnight. I usually been trying to go to bed earlier. In fact, the next night or right after, went to bed at like 6:30. Slept around like 8. It's all good. The reason I'm walking is because I had a metro ride with a friend of mine, Rick. I was mentioning that Rick was at the Rolling Stones Hyde Park show in 1969, where Mick Taylor joined and King Crimson opened. Rick just had a way of being there, And I was 6, so Rick's got a few years on me. But he studied law and worked in Philadelphia and the Philadelphia mob. It's a mob lawyer. Just basically doing paperwork. Nothing fancy. But very interesting that he was embedded in that Miller. And I love Rick. He's not doing things like that right now. He's just a good human being as you'd ever want to meet. We've had our little moments, probably. I've said what I said. Say no more. Spoken enough. But true. Okay, you got something to say. Colette's father died before transplant was possible. That's very sad. You know, people don't have to die of these things. Organ donorship is possible. Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead used to commit his entire audience to becoming organ donors at every show practically because he was only there after 1998 or so because a young man named Cody had turned to somebody he loved and said, if anything ever happens to me, I want to be an organ donor. And according to Phil, and Cody was killed, I think, in a motorcycle accident. I'll have to fact check that. His death saved the lives of 8 people. And that's pretty amazing to be able to give in a way that makes a difference to other people. You're minutes away from being some of the best dining, shopping, and nightlife in D.C. Adams Morgan is world renowned for its fantastic restaurants, nightlife, colorful storefronts, and historic tree-lined streets. AdamsMorgan.org. Anyway, McDonald's here. I think Alexi Seitz was looking for that. Burger King, actually, he was looking for, but McDonald's is closed. There's a flight of pigeons over there. It's a beep. There's the flight of pigeons again. Watching my step here. There's uneven pavement. Debonair launderers and shoe repair and alterations. Domsk Thai restaurant. The Aroma Pizzeria. Then we have Royal Smoke open. Royal Tobacco. I guess they sell weed. Let's see, dispensary self-certify here. Must be 21 valid ID. At 20% off your first purchase. That's one of the interesting things is legalization incrementally for the use of marijuana, cannabis. That's the old Chipotle Mexican grill. I can cross here 17 seconds. I got a ways to go. I'm going to cross the Taft Bridge. It's 10:57, and 1 hour and 3 minutes from now, I'm supposed to get on with Charlotte Dulcignore from London. See what she's up to. So I'm going to catch up with her. Hey, bitch. Where is that? Still no more commentary. If you do have any commentary you'd like to throw in there, I'm all ears. There's a jet coming into National Airport in the distance. I'm always fascinated by that because I've got this app on my phone that's called Flight Radar 24, and I can look up and see who it is, or at least what plane it is, coming in for a landing. I don't have their manifest, but probably only a few jumps to finding that. If I could hack into the Sabre. I don't know if they still use that or not. They were using it for TSA, though, legacy system, and they needed to get it on something more modern. Lots of trouble with those systems because quite often they're built by the lowest bidder and therefore not well built. Our systems tend to favor inefficient technological solutions. And I don't think about that a lot. I don't think, well, maybe we do. I do. What I mean is, for instance, the chips to run AI these days. Most are NVIDIA. They have the largest share of the market, apparently, and rich because of it, but they're not the best. They're kind of large, clunky, wasteful, inefficient. And there's an open source RSC Vive, I think, or RSCV standard that can be used for architecture of the kind of chips needed for artificial intelligence, GPUs, and they're just not being used. It just looks like it doesn't have snow in a building over there. We did not know that. That must be just white, though. I'm watching those buildings across the way because some of those are really particular. Barack Obama lives over there in that direction. Post-presidency home on Belmont. And there's Colorado Circle. I can see the top of one of those buildings over there. It's pretty impressive. A widow's walk on top. And then over here, just above the fence that's been put up to prevent suicides, you have the ambassador of France's home. The ambassador from France. That's like a French chalet. It's built by a coal magnate, actually. Down here, Rock Creek Park. It's obstructed a little bit by the fence. There was fellows walking down there and they're on a bike on the path coming into view. You never know what you might see or who you might see or who might be watching. This is something on my mind as well, the surveillance state. My friend Daniel Scruggs was telling me recently that they have something called flock license plate readers all over Williamsburg now. So everybody, regardless of whether they're suspect or not, are tracked. And information about them is kept for 30 days. Not indefinitely, but 30 days. And that's questionable. The EFF.org, Electronic Frontiers Foundation, is your friend in trying to keep Big Brother from watching you. I highly recommend people invest in EFF.org and other such ventures because we can be the change we want to see in the world, but we have to remember every cent we spend is a vote for the kind of world we're co-creating. Over the treetop, past the think green, think clean recycling truck. There's a jet going international airport. One more. And a series of jets that'll be landing there today. Think about whether this trip is really necessary. Because a lot of times people are flying when they don't need to. We could use virtual presence to cut down on the number of people burning jet fuel. Probably would help. Burning automobiles too, like a Walken. I was using the metro actually to go with my friend Rick and have a conversation about a topic that I enjoy talking about, getting his perspectives. That was very helpful. And I'm getting your perspectives. Words and Walks has joined. Howdy. You're just my kind of person, I think. I'm using words as I walk across the Taft Bridge in Washington, D.C. on Connecticut Avenue. The D70 bus just passed by, capturing a little bit of information. I expect that if the metadata was enhanced, to be able to learn a lot about what I am taking in through the lens. Boring as it may be, we had a guy come in. He talked about how boring this was and how he hated this app and how I blocked him. Just poof. That person was vapor. So far as I'm concerned, I don't know if they might have had something positive to say, life-changing for me or somebody else. It might have been here, but instead they decided to go negative, and their reward was poof. I don't know. I probably shouldn't do that. I am diminishing myself when I decide to take actions of that sort. It's not the first time. And there are people who do not have access to me. I go with Mitch Horowitz on this about how one should distance oneself from cruelty or just unnecessarily negative human beings because life's too short, you know? And it might help them learn a lesson. I don't know. Maybe it won't. Doesn't really matter in the greater scheme of things. None of us do, but we all do. I should say we all matter. Every action we take has a repercussion, and sometimes that is to be silenced, to be unheard. And I like to help people be heard, you know? Feel free to comment, by the way, as I walk and talk. I've got a little ways to go before I'm home, and I've got 55 minutes before I'm supposed to go on to Zoom with Charlotte Del Signore in London. It'll be 6 p.m. her time, 12 p.m. my time. We'll catch up a bit on my coaching journey. 7th of 8 bi-weekly sessions. We skipped a few in this period of the holidays through requests primarily. I was a little disappointed in that initially, and I had a reaction. I'll share that with you guys because I'm far from perfect. I reacted by saying, well, I think I'll just give you these 2 hours back and we can just call this done. Hasn't really worked out. And I felt that way at the time. And I thought, well, you know, I might as well. And she did come back and say she was committed to seeing it through. And I was like, well, that shows a good spirit. And I was being a bit harsh and unkind and recognized my part in that. And I don't know if that's even needs to be said, but it's true. National Gallery of Art, Modern Art, Ancient Traditions. On the bus stop over there, they're advertising the National Gallery of Art. I'm a member of the circles, National Gallery of Art. I forget the level entirely, but we gave them a fair chunk of change last year. Should be good for tax write-off. And should be good for helping the National Gallery of Art continue to keep art in the forefront here in the nation's capital. Good hope. Let's see, I can go this way. Actually, though it's longer, I could go all the way down here and turn. Don't think I really want to, though. You know, stay on Connecticut. Passing by the Dresden, my friend Barbara lives here. She's a lobbyist. And her mother, I think, had the apartment originally. She lives there. She seemed to have been very attached to her mom. She lived there with a little dog. Hope she's doing well. I haven't heard from her for a while. And we keep moving. Keep moving. And I was so happy to hear from my friend Cynthia today. She was good enough to give me the rights to a contact list for a group, about 480 people here in Washington, D.C. or the area. Some are scattered around the world that comprise my satsang. And I'll be keeping the contact list going in the coming year. The dental operation here, I went there once. They're exclusively using high-powered water picks to clean, which my wife and I didn't really enjoy, so we didn't go there again. That's Colorama Dental. And we go to another one that's further down on, I believe, Devonshire. I think that's the name of the street. Not sure. It's not Dorchester, no. Who knows? These fireboxes can be interesting. This one is dedicated to local architecture. There it is. Looking a little worse for wear. Weather will do a lot to erode things. Passing Paraguay's mission to the Organization of American States. Yeah, that's what that is. Across the way, there's the Embassy of Malta, if I remember correctly. That building there used to belong to the Russians. And then there's a monument to General McClellan, George E. McClellan. And I live hard by McClellan's Retreat. The building across the way, can't really see it through the gap here, but the top of it, you can, sort of brown stone. That used to be the home of Christopher Hitchens. He had a penthouse there. Reporter for Vanity Fair, general polemical author, probably most famous for God is Not Great, but he did so much else. So erudite. There is the rest of the Wyoming there. I think the very top row, this section of it, was his, if I'm not mistaken. You can go on YouTube and look for Christopher Hitchens and find a tour from his penthouse windows as he sort of shows the neighborhood. I love that. He might have been in the second section. I think he had the top floor. And on we go. This time we're looking at the Churchill Hotel. Quite often find a lot of the fancy people like to stay there, or the Hinckley Hilton across the way, where John Hinckley shot Reagan in 1981 in the spring. He ended up living in my neighborhood, Kings Mill on the James in Williamsburg, with his mother, who's now deceased. I don't know where John is now or how he's doing, but he was definitely mentally disturbed when he shot several people, really critically wounding James Brady, his press secretary, horrifically. And on it goes. This place has now got a thing on the windows. Used to be a grill there. I don't know if there still is going to be or whatever, but it looks like they've notice of application for renewal of serving alcohol there. Remember that there is no amount of alcohol safe for human consumption, according to the World Health Organization. January 2023, they put up a statement to that effect, and we all should know it. That's not a good reason to stay sober. I don't know what is, but most people do not, and most people don't even know that. That's the position of the World Health Organization, at least since January 2023. Well, you know how much we pay attention to the World Health Organization in the United States now that we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as our Director of Health and Human Services. Dr. Oz has a role there too, and I don't know what all. It's peculiar what times we live in, folks. We have to do our own research. And if you've done your research and you believe that you are treating yourself as you ought to, keep it for your own treatment. Don't try to treat others if you don't have a medical degree or the license to practice medicine. There's a thing there about drive safety, say about drugs, alcohol, or meds. Any substance that impairs your driving can lead to a DUI. Nice public service announcement on the side of the D72 bus to Lafayette Square. Keep that in mind. National Gallery of Art, advertising modern art and ancient traditions. You don't want to miss the stars. And there's something from the Rocket Mortgage. I've got Rocket money on my phone. Thinking about deleting it. It's costing me money. America's favorite chip, Lay's, established in 1938. Many things were established in 1938. God's love has no borders. Immigrants and refugees are welcome here at St. Margaret's in D.C. Public information. You shall love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Deuteronomy 10:19. So that's a reminder to everybody who follows Deuteronomy as a sacred text. Got more work going on. Golden holes. clean asphalt there, looks like. Ready to go. Me just walking across the road. Continue to work. There's some vehicles over here. It's a kitty corner from each other. One coming out the alley behind my house. Porsche. Mazda coming down as well. Going to turn down Florida. Other fellow making an illegal turn onto Florida. This happens. Lots of interesting maneuvers because of the ongoing construction on Connecticut Avenue this January 5th, 2026. Be wrapping the passing show pretty soon. Almost home. 11:15. I've got 45 minutes. Anybody said anything yet? Randy Umberger has joined as well. Good to have you. Thank you all for joining the passing show. This is just a service of Harrowings designed to give a little bit of basic journalism, who, what, when, and where in Washington, D.C. at this particular point in history. Embassy Moldova staff coming across. Some Moldovan flag that flies next door. I got me connected to David A. Andelman. If you don't know David, check him out. Andelman Unleashed. Has a nice Zoom call every Friday about current status of things. Shen Waite's A Beautiful, Terrible Thing is in the Little Free Library provided by the Romanians of D.C. And we're going to look back for the ambulance coming down Florida Avenue, likely. Yep. And we have medic number 9. Very common to see number 9 coming through this corridor. The best for everyone affected by whatever's got them running down, probably to Georgetown Hospital, possibly. Sibley, one of them. 10. They could be going to George Washington. There are a lot of hospitals here. They're probably not going to Washington Hospital Center because of the direction they're going. Or they're going to pick up somebody. That's always possible. So if my neighbor is in, see if blinds a stance, and I'm heading inside myself. Good to have you. If you're in the neighborhood, you know where to find me. Remember, we have serious security, so don't even think about it. Every cent spent a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating out here.